Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Savan Kirpalu Ajaib Tera Sahara Mera sharan Tu mera prema Savan Kirpa.
So we arrived to episode 5 of season 6. Here is with me Master Sirio, as always. So welcome, dear Master.
Good evening.
And as you might have noticed, we jumped one episode, and the reason for this is that we were very busy with the preparations with the program of Master Sirio in Malta, and then we were at Malta, which has been a very blessed and very beautiful program. Everybody was very happy with it. Who took part in it, they know. For those who couldn't come for some reason, but still they would like to try the Master's grace, they would like to try to meditate with Master Sirio, to be in his presence, to listen to his enlightening satsangs, then you are most welcome to apply for the next program, which is going to be in Italy, in the Sandmani Ashram, from the 25th of April to the 1st of May. So we are going to have a 1 week intense meditation retreat, a full immersion, I would say, because the program in Malta was brief, but very intense. And now in Italy, in the Sandmani Ashram, we have the chance to dive deep into spirituality and exit from the retreat being reborn with a transformed mind, new orientation. So I highly advise to any spiritual seeker to come and try. And anyway, if you're interested in it, you can visit the SirioSatsang.com website where you find more information, or you can text me at the siriopodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget, we have the other podcast as well, the Daily Guidance Meditation Podcast, where you can follow daily guided meditation with Master Sirio from previous retreats. And then soon we are going to publish as well the meditation talks from Malta and Satsang's public lectures from Malta. We can continue with our questions and your answers. And where we have got plenty of questions, I try to always group them together. So let's just begin in the middle, in medias res, as they say.
Go ahead.
Okay. Since I am on this beautiful adventurous path with you, Master Sirio, I can say that to me it has been a continuous alternation of God prevailing within me and then the mind ego coming back again, asserting itself by any means. When God prevails, I forget altogether about this mind ego. When the mind ego dominates, again, I'm like, oh no, you're still here. But in these states, I do remember God lived in me before. Will it ever happen on the spiritual path that the mind ego completely vanishes? It's again a $1 billion question.
So to begin with, we must understand that for most of the human beings experiencing a state in which God dominates our being, it's just out of question. It doesn't happen, it doesn't exist. Because most of the people on this planet, they never experience nearness of God or to be visited by a state of consciousness which is above the ordinary. So if a person has the good luck of even once experiencing a state of consciousness in which, let's say, something above the human average happens, that's already such an incredible blessing. Because we must be aware that for most of the people it doesn't happen. So those with whom it happens, they must be, first of all, very grateful for it, even if it happens only once in their life, because it's a chance to see that there is another possibility, and it's a chance that you experience yourself, that you know by your own experience that it is possible and available for human beings. So it's not something that you read in books, something that the priest tells you, the imam or the pope. It's something that you know because of your direct first-hand experience. If this happens more times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times in your life, oh my, then you bow down day and night and thank the Supreme Being for granting you such blessings.
But that's also a reason to go for retreats with the Master, to push ourselves to our limits, to go near to such an experience.
Yes, and that's where usually in most of the times these deep experiences happen, manifest. Because during retreats there is a very intense charged up atmosphere, and that's what you need in order to go deep inside, above mind, sensory perception and body, because that's where actual inner experience happens, when we raise above body consciousness, sensory perception and mind activity.
So we also could say that to go very deep within, but it also does mean at the same time to go very high, to reach to our peak of that moment.
Yes, usually when we talk about inner experience, we use these two different terms, going deep within or going very high. But it means the same thing, actually. But actually, it's not completely true, because sometimes inner experience happens when you really feel that you're going very deep within yourself, like into a cave that exists within yourself. And sometimes it feels really like raising above this planet or above this human condition. So this is mainly the two ways the inner experience happens, like feeling going so deep within that you become as tiny as an atom, or expanded like a cosmos. That's the paradox, no?
Well, both of them sounds really wonderful.
They are wonderful. Any inner experience is wonderful. Said this, so whether it happens once or it happens many times, that's a great blessing, and we have to be very aware of it, and we have to be very grateful for it. Now is the point that the mind then comes back and takes up the whole show. Of course, it can be but like this, because let's say there is a space to be filled up, let's say a square meter to be filled up, and normally these square meters, which is the awareness that we have of ourselves, or the field of experience that we have of ourselves, is filled up only with mind, activities, sensory perception and body feelings. If another type of experience comes into this field, it begins to occupy a certain space. And if this happens many more times, then this space of what is an experience which goes above this ordinary human condition takes up more and more of this space. So eventually, when this keeps happening and happening and deepening, then this whole space becomes occupied by this other state of consciousness, this other possibility. And eventually the whole of our being becomes occupied by this new field of experience, or different fields of experience.
So it's a little bit like cultivating an inner garden.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it, yes.
Then you can plant flowers and things, but if you don't take care of it, you don't pull it out the grass and stuff, and wild shoots, then no matter that there are the flowers or fruit trees or whatever.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Once we begin to occupy all this space, and we put in this space all these beautiful flowers and beautiful fruits, beautiful garden, altogether roses and lotuses and everything, then we have to take care of this also. We don't have to allow wild animals to come into this beautiful garden and spoil it. And these wild animals may be, our ego, our arrogance, our egocentric, dominated perception of life. So we have to get out all these weeds, which they may begin to grow up again, and take good care of this garden. And mostly, how do we take good care of this garden? We take good care of this garden by keep attending the retreats and cultivating again and again and expanding this our field of experience, listening to the Satsang of the Master, because as Master Kripal used to put it, the initiation, which begins to be an experience of this kind, because that's what we get at initiation, we get an inner experience, which begins to fill up the space of our consciousness. Once this garden begins to grow, then we have to make a fence around it. That's what Master Kripal used to say. And this fence is Satsang. So listen to the teachings of the Master. Try to always reorientate your perspective of life. Pull out the weeds according to the teachings and keep this garden beautiful, green, flowery, colorful. That's the way to live a wonderful spiritual life.
Yes, no wonder that I thought about this example of the inner garden, because it's a very common example, no? Like, as you said, that Master Kripa said, like the initiation is like the seed, the plant, which is planted in the garden. Then we put around the fence to defend it from all these wild animals with the satsang. But also there is the example, the master is like the gardener. And then when we go for retreats, then the master can do this gardening work. And maybe sometimes it feels difficult even, because even when a gardener goes into a garden, which is maybe not so well treated, and there are jungle-like trees, or a really jungle-like garden, then what does one do? The gardener gets the saw, the tools, and hoe, and then does a good work. And maybe it seems like a strong intervention into the inner garden, but still then the garden becomes beautiful.
Yes.
And then we again get the chance to maintain it beautiful. But when we go back to our everyday life and we don't keep strong the fence, we don't maintain the work which was done, then we slip back to our everydays. You said that if we keep practicing, so it's also a little bit like habits. We have to make this into a habit to keep this inner garden, inner self, inner being clean and open for the grace. Because as you said, that like the space is filled up with mind, ego and sensory perception. But then if we give space more and more frequent to the divine presence, to God or supreme power, then by and by it takes up the space and fills it up more and more. To me it sounds also like a habit, because when we live, when we're born, then we acquire habits. That's what we do. Right from the beginning with our parents. We're born, then from day one, in lucky case, then there are habits, no? That we need to be changed, we need to be fed, these basic needs. This is a habit that we nourish ourselves. This is the first habit. And then all the things, no? Then they teach us, you have to do like this, that you have to wash your teeth, and then it becomes a habit. And then we grow up and we go to the master, and then he is teaching us, like a patient parent, he's teaching us how to cultivate this inner garden, to cultivate, to acquire healthy spiritual habits, to live a healthy spiritual life.
Yeah, it's like, again, going back to the garden example, if we begin to cultivate this garden, then we have to do a daily work, We have to do a daily work to keep it nice. Sometimes when the season changes, then you need to do a more
profound intervention,
yes, a more wide intervention. In the daily practice that we do, daily meditation that we do, Simran that we do, our bhajan singing that we do daily, is like this daily intervention that we do in this garden in order to keep it nice. But when the season changes, means when we need to again dig the earth, because the past crop, it has been harvested. So you need to again dig the earth and plant new plants. Then that's to be compared as when you go to a retreat.
Well, also when spring and autumn, pruning is to be done.
Also, nature teaches us everything, you see. That's the spiritual life how it goes. So from time to time we need to go for a spiritual retreat, for an intensive spiritual retreat in which a deep inner work is done in order to pull out again as much as possible this deep-seated divinity which is inside of us and make it again fresh, dynamic.
To be reconnected.
Be brought in the forefront of our experience. So that's what a retreat does. We go to a retreat in order to get out of this daily routine which somehow clouds the consciousness. Because we have to be aware that spiritual life is not that you reach a certain stage and it is done. It doesn't exist this way. It doesn't happen this way. It's something that has to be and needs to be renewed all the time. This is to the last day of our life. Nobody can say I've reached a certain stage and this stage will stay with me forever. I don't need to do anything anymore. I can stop meditating. I can leave off all possible practices. This now will stay with me forever. It doesn't exist. If anybody asserts that this is possible, then this person is lying to you. Once I was in Rajasthan with Sanji, and there was a period in which some people who had been very committed to the path and who had been on the path for a very long time, they went into a crisis and they somehow left the path. At least, if not completely left the path, let's say they left the path to at least 80%. So Sanji was very disappointed. During a satsang, he was saying that there was a disciple of Guru Nanak called Baba Buddha.
What's the name?
Baba Buddha. Buddha means the wise one, you know?
Yes, but it sounds good, Baba Buddha.
And he lived a very long time. Means Guru Nanak died, then he stayed with the second Guru, Guru Angad. Then Guru Angad died and he stayed alive with the third, fourth, and I think the fifth Guru also.
Oh, wow. So Babaji we have.
So he became very old. And even in his old age, Sanji said, he kept doing his spiritual practice. Anyway, at some point he asked, I think it was Guru Arjan, the fifth Guru, look, now I'm very old. Do I still need to do my spiritual practice? And Guru Arjan said, look, I myself keep doing the spiritual practice. So you should also keep doing it. What does it mean, this? It means that, it's like a mirror. Maulana Rumi says, if you find the mirror of your heart dull, it means the dust has not been removed. If you want the mirror of your heart clear, then apply the practice of meditation. So this is to be done again and again, all through our life. This cleaning the mirror of our heart so that divinity may shine. If we stop doing the spiritual practice, then dust will gather over it. And when we are young, there are certain type of problems, impediment that may dull the mirror of our heart. In the old age, there are other types of impediments. They are different, but still impediments are there. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it in mind. We don't come to a stage in which we can leave off the spiritual practice because now we are realized beings. It doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. We come to a stage in which it is very easy to clean the mirror because we have cleaned it again and again and again. So it's not like in the beginning. Mm-hmm. That it needs a real big work, Mm-hmm. At some point, it becomes very easy. You just go over a little bit and it's clean. Means you sing a bhajan and you find yourself directly connected with the divine.
This sounds good.
You sit in meditation and you very easily go deep within or high above.
Well, they also say the masters come to encourage the people and to revolutionize the thought patterns of the disciples. So it's very encouraging what you say now, that if we keep doing our practice, then eventually sounds like successful. But I also wanted to say I can't but think of our Norman, whom the listeners of this podcast could hear in this podcast as well, or also we have some video interviews on YouTube with him. And I have to say to the listeners that before going to Malta, Norman, who is 99 years old this year. He's in his 99th year of life, and he has been initiated, I think, in 1964 by Master Kirpal, anyway, in the 60s, and he's still on this path, and he just came over from England by plane along with his son, 99 years old, so difficultly moving, walking, and he is incredible. He's a great example for all the Satsangis, because I just look at him and he's so humble towards the Master. He's so grateful to the Master. He so much loves the Master, and he so much enjoys doing the spiritual practice that it's just amazing. And this is exactly what you're saying now, that he's so old, and still he says to me, we always take the chance to have some small talks whenever he comes over, and he always says, oh, when you're given, then you always want more. And it's the flavor of life. And that you can really see how much he enjoys the path, even at this age. He's not fed up of it. He just wants it. And he just wants more and more. And he says, even now, then, all these many years of decades, I never understood. And just now, the Master said this thing in Satsang, and now I understood how it is. It's really amazing. He really gives
this is a good example. And
yes, it's a
Norman
great example.
is really a living example of this kind. You see, he has been on this path since 1962, 63, I guess.
I don't remember exactly. Maybe
yes,
60.
that's when Master Kirpal went on tour the second time, 1963, and that's when Norman met him. These many years on the path, and he still does his spiritual practice. He's like Baba Buddha, you know.
yes, exactly.
He's just this kind of example.
He was initiated by Master Kirpal. Then he used to be a disciple of Santa Jaip Singh Ji, and now he's attending your retreats, and he's attending almost all the retreats whenever he's, I don't know if one can say even a word like fit and fine, because he's so old, but whenever he's capable, he comes. And as he gave us such an example also the other time that I will never forget in my life. I think nobody who was here at this retreat, that the retreat is really the place and the situation where miracles do happen, when the impossible becomes possible. That there was an occasion when Norman was feeling very weak and tired, and two people had to carry him to his bed and lay him down. He said that he's so tired that he can't get up of the bed. And then we had a meditation up in the yurt. And in Tuscany, I mean, those who have an image in their mind about Tuscany, or those who know the ashram, they know that it's all hillsides. So it's everywhere you find slopes. Climbing up. And then we went up for the meditation, and his son said, okay, you stay here, Dad? Yes, I rest, you go for the meditation. I will stay here, I will meditate on my bed. And at some point, just before the meditation began, we just sang the mantra, or before the mantra, then we heard a noise at the door of the yurt, which is on the top of the ashram, let's say the most high, or the highest point of the ashram. And he walked up alone. And like an hour before, two people had to carry him to his bed. He said he can't stand up. And I saw the glance of the Master, so I jumped up. And I went there and I saw him, that his sweat running down his forehead, his nose, and everywhere. So it was evident what a physical force it was for him to climb up hills all alone. And I couldn't believe my eyes. And then again, two people grabbed him and carried him to a chair to make him sit down. And then we sang the mantra, and with full power he was singing with us, and everybody was shocked. I think everybody was like, well, maybe it's not the right word, humiliated, but we all felt like children of the kindergarten, I think. And he, the university professor, because we all saw what it does mean. This was an amazing experience. But also I wanted to say that you mentioned how important it is to do our daily practice. So we are very lucky because, as I said, there is this daily guidance meditation podcast. And nowadays, with this modern technology, it's so easy to stay tuned in. It's so easy to stay connected. It's not that one lives far away, I don't know, at the other corner of the world. Now you just go on Spotify or YouTube, and every day you can listen to these podcast episodes of the daily guidance and be connected. Listen to the mantra, listen to the words of the Master, guidance into meditation, and then also offer the possibility to anyone who can to come for these retreats. Then you offer everything to the people. But also what I wanted to say, just all these things which you were talking about, also this Baba Buddha, no, that we have to keep going, that it's never enough. Because there was the other question which I connected here. Are there any measures by which liberation can be recognized? Is there a final stage on the spiritual path towards liberation, or is it an ever-ongoing process, always deepening and enriching?
Let's say that there is a final stage on the path, which on this path is called Satsang, means reaching the region of truth. So you can reach the region of truth even in the very beginning. If one comes on the path, having done already lots of meditation and maybe having realized already this final stage of the path in a previous lifetime, then once you come on the path, you very easily reach there. But then it doesn't mean that you stay there all the time. Because if you stay there all the time, then you can't function in this world. Your body becomes useless because you won't be able even to use it anymore. So in order to come back into this world and make use of this body which has been granted to you for a certain purpose anyway, and in this case it will be mainly for helping other people reaching that kind of experience, inspiring, encouraging, transmitting something to other people. Even in that case, I mean, at some point you will have to come back into this body and function with your physical body, with your senses and your mind, which won't be the same as before. They will be more enlightened. They will be more intuitive. They will have incredible perception and guidance from above. So your words, your deeds, your everything won't be the same as before. It will be quite different. But yet, you have to come back into the sphere of the mind and of the senses and of the body in order to function in this world.
Well, as we were talking about these 2 episodes before, attachment or love, then we come back in this body and we have to perform our role, what we have to perform in this life.
Yes,
with
what's
the
your
best
destiny?
as you can.
Yes, what's your destiny? What's the destiny assigned to you? By doing your spiritual practice, by going to retreats, you will return to that state of consciousness when God wants you to return to it, when it's needed. When you do your spiritual practice, it will be easy for you to go deep into meditation and enjoy the bliss and everything. But as far as we are in this body and in this world, we have to function here. And we have a certain role to perform. And according to our destiny, we will have to do certain things. The door is always open for us, and we can go back to it. But we have also to perform in this world, whatever our destiny wants us to perform.
This topic also came up in Malta when there was a questions and answer session. Just somebody asked the same thing, that why we can't stay up, or how long does it last to stay up. And
means people, they don't really know what it means to be up. When you are really up, your body doesn't work, your mind doesn't work, it's completely switched off. And I gave the example there in Malta of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. When he went into the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he couldn't come back into this body for 6 months. He was always out. He was being fed by a certain person who pushed some food into his mouth in order to keep him alive. Mm-hmm. And out he was again. But then at some point, God told him, now you stay on the threshold of relativity so that you can teach to people. Means he had to go back to the physical consciousness and perform what the divine wanted to perform through this specific incarnation, this body, this person. So it's like me, when I was initiated by Master Kripal, for 2 years I went on doing such an incredible meditation. And for me it was very difficult to function in this world, because I was very drawn into meditation, very easily and very spontaneously.
Well, but there also on that occasion that you fell sick and you were in the sanitary, so that you were taken care, no? Because the nurses always come and they did take care of you, eating and...
Yes, I was given anything I needed without doing anything. And I was sitting all day long in meditation.
Yes, and
that's what
just
I was
like
doing.
Ramakrishna, no? Then also you stayed 6 months in this hospital, no?
Yes.
So then for 6 months, then you were taking care
Yes,
everything from
but
there.
then I went back home and my mother was taking care of me. So anyway, after 2 years like this, then the situation changed. I needed to do certain things. So I was brought back again to this physical consciousness, and I had to begin perform what my destiny wanted me to perform. So I began attending Satsang, I began doing so much work for the master, and that's still going on.
You know, nowadays we think that, these are like fairy tales a little bit, or like not so common. It doesn't happen to many people, but as it happened to Ramakrishna, but then it happened to you as well. It came into my mind, there is this movie made called Babazis, the Prince of the Desert. And the same thing happened to him. And no matter that they made a movie about it, because it's a phenomenon that can happen to people in that case as well. He went, this prince, it was pictured in that movie that he began to reflect, to observe or contemplate on his own soul in a pond, like the reflection of the water, like the mirror. And there was this light dancing on the surface of the water, but like he went into a trance and he was like out of use, and there was the dervish taking care of him, just the same thing which you described, pushing food in his mouth, and he stayed like that. And then at some point he stood up and went away, and he became a teacher himself. And
that's how it goes for many people. Like Maulana Rumi met his master Shams Tabriz. That's what happened. And these two people went into such a state of communion with each other that for a long time they were just meditating and having satsang together and dancing and making music and singing. That's what they did for a very long period together. So that's what happens always to a person who is destined to become a teacher of some kind, to become a means through which the spiritual transmission is passed on to other people.
I think also, listening to your words, came to an understanding to me that one, in order to be able to come back and perform in a normal way, needs a very strong mind. Because I suppose that there are even some people who go out of their mind and they can't function normally anymore, who don't have a strong enough mind. And also another connected to this, which might seem vaguely connected, but as Master Keeper used to say, and I love to quote this, his saying that it's easy to see God, but it's very difficult to become a real man. And to me, it's very connected, because in order to become a real man, you need a very strong mind, but strong mind not in the negative, but in the positive sense, to be very centered, focused on the task at hand, and never lose from sight the target, never lose from sight the point where you have to go deep within and high, but also at the same time be capable to transmit this truth, this kind of enlightened trance state into everyday life. And live it on the level of the everydays. Because then if you are able to live it on the everydays, being coordinated by a strong mind, that's the thing which makes possible for you to transmit to others, to share it with others, to radiate it through you. Because if you are spaced out, what do you transmit? To be spaced out. But if you are...
You can transmit a blissful state that people can watch in your face. Ramakrishna again used to talk about a boy who used to go to him, and whenever he went to him, he just fell on the ground in samadhi. He entered into the room and boom, he fell down. And one day the boy told him, I'm not going to come back anymore, you won't see me again. And willingly left the body and never came back to the body anymore.
What a story.
So there are stories like this also. Yes, so people, they don't want to go back to the physical consciousness anymore, and they are able to transcend and never come back to the body anymore.
Well, it's very difficult also to keep control, to find the equilibrium in between the physical world and that of the beyond. That you can perform your physical duties on this level. As I mentioned already, these episodes to before, when we talked about attachment and love. one has a target, you have a high target, and you want to reach that by any means, and you want to act for that. And also life needs a great humility and a strong goodwill to go on and perform all the other things which you have to go, that you have to do your work, and then you have to take care of your family, children, or partner, parents, or whatever. So life gives puts so many traps and impediments, obstacles all the time, like beginning from your own health and thoughts and everything. And still, this is the real humility and the real perseverance, that the engine behind of all these things is the spiritual experience that makes you go ahead.
Yes. So every spectrum of possibilities is there. According to the destiny of each one of us, we will have to perform certain action in this our existence, and things will go accordingly in all possible levels.
So I think nothing else is left to say, but again repeat my kind and warm welcoming invitation to all interested seekers of truth to come and attend this wonderful spiritual retreat, intense meditation retreat with Master Sirio in the Sadbani Ashram in April. So to make your own personal experience and take not just a big step, but maybe a jump ahead in the direction where you would like to head. Because if you listen to this podcast, most probably you are interested in these things. So I think at some point we have to make a decision. So if you haven't experienced yet what it is like a spiritual retreat with Master Sirio, then it's high time. You're all welcome. And then, as I said, that we have the Daily Guidance Meditation podcast. You can listen to it. You can find lots of videos also by Master Sirio on YouTube, on the Sirio Satsang YouTube channel. And now we started also another yoga music channel. You can find some songs there. So if you like to listen to songs, mantras, then you're most welcome to look for Sirio Band and subscribe, follow the channel. And you're most welcome to leave a like, a comment on this episode and share with others. And thank you for listening. And on the first and most, thank you, Master, to be here with me again and share your wisdom selflessly, as you always do. And now we can listen to a beautiful mantra dedicated to the great Masters Savan, Kirpan and Ajaib, sang by Master Sirio.
Savan Kirpal Ajaib, Tera Sahara, Tera Sahara, Mera Sharan, Mera Sharan, Tum Mera Prema hai, Savan Kirpal Ajaib, Tera Sahara, Tera Sahara, Mera Sharan, Mera Sharan, Tum Mera Prema hai, Tum Mera Prema hai, Tum Mera Prema hai.